Hi guys, I'm Kate. I'm an indie artist and producer, and today I just want to talk about some things that I wish I knew before I started producing. These are just a couple of things that I've learned over the years that I feel like are helpful to keep in mind so that you can stay inspired, productive, and overall just learning as much as you can. Number one is that even if you're a singer, having some basic knowledge of production can be really helpful, just in terms of knowing the language of how you want to shape your sound. Before I started producing, I couldn't really identify the elements that I liked in other songs other than, oh, I really like this feeling here, or it seems very X, but I didn't know the Y behind it. So I think even if you don't or aren't like super interested in the beat making and the whole production process, doing it just a little bit so you can start to learn the vocabulary is very important. If you're a singer, I would definitely like pick up like Ableton Live Lite or like one of the free versions of production software. Number two is that it's not always fun and it takes a lot of practice. A lot of the times we have this whimsical idea of the producer, right? They get a strike of inspiration and then they make the beat and they're like vibing to it and everything is hunky-dory and amazing. But most of the time, it's just me being frustrated at my computer. It takes a lot of research sometimes when you don't know what's going on, especially in the beginning. I'm self-taught. There's a lot of YouTube and Google searching involved, and it really does take a lot of practice. I feel like I didn't really get my groove until I spent a year every single week making a complete demo. And don't get me wrong, so many of them are terrible. Regardless, like, they help me grow a lot. And that's another thing I feel like, don't forget that not everything you make has to be perfect. View your beats and creations when needed as stepping stones in your production journey. I feel like every song, every session, I'm learning something new or how to utilize something in a new way. Number three is that you're gonna need a decent computer if you want to produce. I used to try and produce on like a $300 laptop. It was the absolute worst. If you can, producing on a desktop computer is great. I have a MacBook now, which is very expensive. They are costly, but if you want to produce efficiently, I would highly recommend getting a computer that can support it, especially when you start bringing like plugins into the equation. A laptop that's not optimized for that kind of work, like, it makes the learning process so much more difficult. Obviously not everyone can do that, but you know, you can also start, if you don't have those resources, like you could use your phone or your iPad or your tablet, or, you know, if you have anything Apple related, like just start with GarageBand, doing something so you're composing and putting different elements together while you're waiting to transition to a different DAW, or, you know, even like people make great songs in GarageBand, so even not transition. Whatever works for you. Number four is don't fall into the equipment trap. I know a lot of shiny plugins are exciting and I have definitely bought my fair share, but don't feel like you need to buy plugins to create something. Most of the time, like, your stock plugins that you're given with your DAW are more than enough. Invest more into time, learning, seeking out mentorship from other producers, because that's where your real growth is going to be. Plugins are for polish, but you can't like polish up a piece of poo. I don't know. Invest time in learning rather than buying things. And then my last point is that creative boundaries can be helpful. What I mean by this is that being creative isn't always fun. Producing isn't always fun. So if you aren't inspired, I would take a moment and try and give yourself a challenge. So whether that's a deadline for I need to make this beat by X, or a different constraint, like I want to make this beat using all of this sample, or having those constraints can really help you be productive even when you really aren't feeling like it. And I feel like that is one of the main things you need to get used to, and the biggest misconceptions is that you have to create and be consistent even when you don't want to, and just like fight through it. And eventually, if you give yourself enough and like get started in your session, you're eventually like gonna get into that groove and really just be excited about making again. But you need to build up that skill of working through when you have those like blocks and stuff. But anyway, I hope this was helpful. Yeah, I hope you're all having a great week. Let me know if there's any production tutorials or tips or tricks or anything you'd like to know. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.